July 10th holds a warning from Archangel Michael. Someone you trust will betray you, and he's urging you to wake up before it's too late. Watch this video now. July 10th is not just a date on the calendar. It is a divine alarm echoing in the spiritual realm. Something is stirring behind the veil, and Archangel Michael has been dispatched with urgency. He comes with a heavy warning. Someone you've trusted, someone close to you, is about to betray you. It's not paranoia. It's not fear. It's a divine prompting that you must not ignore. This isn't meant to make you anxious. It's meant to prepare you, to sharpen your discernment, and to shield you from disaster. Heaven doesn't speak unless something significant is at stake. July 10th is spiritually coded. Here's a portal opening, revealing truth in a raw, unfiltered way. Michael has seen your tears. He's heard your questions. And he's seen the conversations happening in your absence. You've been too kind, too forgiving, too blind to the shadow cloaked behind the smile. The betrayal is subtle but planned. Someone in your circle has already made the decision. And if you don't awaken now, the impact will be devastating. This message is not random. The divine doesn't waste breath. You're being called to attention because a divine shift is coming, and it starts with exposure. Michael is swinging his sword not against your enemies, but against the illusion that's kept you tied to false loyalty. The same hands that praised you are secretly pushing pins into your name. And the date July 10th will be the moment it surfaces. This is a divine intersection. This is your moment to awaken before it's too late. Type I am chosen to receive blessing 1189. The betrayal didn't begin on July 10th. It began long before, in whispers, in hidden motives, in quiet resentment that grew like a shadow behind someone's smile. Archangel Michael didn't arrive with this message for nothing. He was dispatched from the throne room with fire in his wings and sorrow in his eyes. This betrayal isn't meant to destroy you, but to deliver you. Deliver you from illusions, masks, and cycles that have kept you tied to the wrong people for too long. He says you've prayed for clarity. Now prepare for truth. There is someone you love or trust who has grown envious in silence. Their spirit has shifted. Their energy has changed. You felt it. You've ignored it. You've explained it away. But heaven sees what you cannot. This is not your fault, but it will be your consequence if you keep entertaining what the divine has exposed. The enemy isn't wearing horns. The enemy is wearing friendship. And on July 10th, a moment will come, an interaction, a message, a silence, that will open your eyes. Michael is urging you to stay alert. He's been placing signs, dreams, delays, and gut nudges in your path. Have you noticed the way certain people suddenly withdraw when you start rising? Have you felt drained after sharing your joy? That's not coincidence. That's spiritual resistance. A spirit of sabotage hath been working behind the scenes through someone close. But heaven is stepping in, not to ruin your peace, but to protect it. Exposure is the beginning of freedom. Type I am guarded to get blessing 2744. Michael's sword doesn't just strike enemies that sever soul ties. You've been bound by guilt, manipulation, and emotional loyalty to someone whose season in your life is over. Let them go. The betrayal must happen, not because heaven wants to hurt you, but because it's the only way to break the chain. Pain will birth awakening, and July 10th is the contraction before your release. Stop apologizing for outgrowing people who secretly wanted you to stay beneath them. This warning is holy, not a curse, but a covering. The betrayal will not destroy you, it will define you. It will mark the moment where you stop living for approval and start living in alignment. Michael isn't just warning you. He's preparing you. He's positioning you for a chapter where loyalty will be mutual and love won't be a weapon. But before that new chapter starts, this false one must end. Someone you trust has become spiritually dangerous. Pay attention to the ones who always need your light but disappear when you're dim. Watch how they respond to your wins. Do they celebrate or grow silent? Michael says, this silence is a siren. Trust it. Trust the shift. Trust what your spirit hath been whispering in your sleep. You already know who it is. Stop fighting your knowing. Heaven never warns where there is no danger. Type I am rising to get blessing 5678. You've seen glimpses already. The subtle shift in tone. The unanswered messages. The delay in their excitement when you share good news. Those moments weren't random. They were the slipping edges of a carefully worn mask. And Archangel Michael says it's about to fall completely. July 10th is the appointed time where heaven will peel back the final layer and show you what has been hidden in plain sight. Not to punish but to empower. Not to shame but to set free. Michael urges you now, do not fight the exposure. When it comes, do not second guess what's shown. It may come as a confession, a confrontation, a cancellation, or a moment of silence that reveals more than words ever could. However it happens, it will shake your heart, but do not let it shake your faith. This betrayal is the final sign. You were never meant to build on that foundation. Heaven is rescuing you from misplaced trust before it becomes permanent damage. Sometimes, the betrayal must be allowed so the soul can awaken. You would have kept holding on. You would have kept forgiving. You would have kept hoping they'd change. But heaven saw that they were not evolving. They were exploiting. This person grew too comfortable in your light while quietly despising your glow. They smiled when you suffered. They felt bigger when you felt small. Archangel Michael has come now to break that connection with divine precision. Type I am awakened to get the blessing 4488. You poured loyalty into a cup that had a crack in it. No matter how much you gave, it never felt like enough. You were made to question your worth. You were made to shrink yourself so they could feel taller. But July 10th is the boundary line between that broken version of you and the rebirth of your spiritual authority. This betrayal is your teacher. The pain is your clarity. Let it burn through the illusion and set you free. Michael says, they wanted to keep you close, but never above them. That's why they withheld praise. That's why they imitated your ideas but never gave credit. That's why they copied your words but not your sincerity. You are not wrong for seeing through them now. You are not unloving for creating distance. You are not paranoid. You are protected. And your obedience to this warning will determine the level of peace and prosperity you walk into next. There is a shift in heaven's courtroom concerning your name. What was once tolerated will now be confronted. What was once hidden will be shown. And what was once confusing will become clear. Michael is on assignment. He does not arrive without reason. He doesn't come when there is no war. And his presence in your life this week means that someone, is spiritually hazardous. They are cloaked in closeness, but internally aligned with your downfall. Type I am protected to get the blessing 6193. You have been faithful. You have been patient. You have given second, third, and 20th chances. But now is the time for separation. Not from love, but from illusion. Not from compassion, but from compromise. This person's betrayal is not new. It's simply now being uncovered. Michael says you must not grieve what is being removed. It is heaven's way of making room for what's real. Sometimes the knife must be exposed so the wound can finally heal. July 10th is not your end. It's your exit. Exit from manipulation. Exit from guilt. Exit from one-sided connections and emotionally draining loyalty. You have served your role in their life. You helped, healed, and held space. But now you must reclaim your light. Michael is standing before you now, sword drawn, wings wide, commanding your spirit to awaken. He says, the betrayal will break you open, but only to rebuild you stronger. The pain of betrayal is real, but so is the power of awakening. And in the coming days, you will feel both. Let it come. Let it clear. Let the fire do its holy work. Because from these ashes, you will rise into a chapter where your peace is no longer bargained, and your value is no longer debated. And those who once took you for granted will have to watch you thrive without them. If this message is piercing your spirit and helping you step into divine truth, consider giving a super chat or super thanks today. Your support of $20 helps us continue creating powerful, prophetic messages like this one. We are grateful for every seed you sow. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And be sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. You'll receive regular prophetic guidance, exclusive content, and spiritual tools to keep you aligned with your divine path. Type I'm chosen to get the blessing 7720. July 10th is not an ordinary day. It is a divine appointment. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that the betrayal itself is not the tragedy. The true tragedy would be ignoring the warning and staying where your spirit no longer fits. The revelation will sting, but it will also sanctify. It is a holy fire sent not to destroy, but to refine. Heaven is calling you out of confusion and into clarity. You cannot pray for peace and keep feeding what disturbs it. This betrayal is not your weakness. It's your wake-up call. Every time you overlooked the red flags, heaven took note. Every time you silenced your intuition to maintain the illusion of harmony, the spirit of truth grew more urgent. July 10th is the day of reckoning, not in anger, but in mercy. The betrayal is heaven's way of turning the lights on. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. Positioned for discernment, wholeness, and divine alignment. Michael says, there are people in your life who have never seen you as a person, only as a source of encouragement, a source of ideas, a source of healing, but not as a soul deserving of mutual love, respect, or protection. You were used under the disguise of being needed, and that manipulation is the spirit being judged. On July 10th, that energy will rise to the surface. Something they say, or don't say, will give them away. Type I am seeing clearly to get the blessing 6868. You'll feel it in your spirit. The energy in the room will shift. Your silence will become deafening. Your sarcasm will pierce deeper. For they'll suddenly pull away without explanation. That is not coincidence. That is confirmation. The betrayal will not always be loud. Sometimes, it will be the quiet departure of someone who only stayed to siphon your strength. Heaven is separating what was secretly draining you. Michael says, stop chasing those I'm removing. This exposure is sacred. You asked for growth. This is the cost. You asked for clarity. This is the price. The fire must burn so the roots of deception die. You've prayed for God to close doors not meant for you. But what if the door is a person? What if their betrayal is the divine exit you refuse to walk through yourself? July 10th is the moment heaven stops waiting for your consent and begins moving for your protection. The fire of revelation will not consume you. It will crown you. From the ashes of this betrayal, a new version of you will arise. One that no longer over-explains. One that no longer tolerates inconsistency. One that no longer fears solitude. Because after July 10th, you will remember how it felt to pour love into someone who only brought spiritual erosion. You will remember, and you will not go back. Type "I am healed" to get blessing 3580. Michael has been circling you like a watchman, waiting for the moment your spirit was ready to see. And now, the veil is lifting. The things you thought were just bad timing were divine redirections. The silence you feared was divine separation. The tension you felt in your gut was divine intelligence alerting you. And that friend or partner or confidant you defended for so long, heaven is revealing what your heart was too kind to admit. They are not for you. They never were. They were an assignment to teach you boundaries, to shape your discernment, and to remind you that loyalty to others must never come at the expense of betrayal to yourself. July 10th is when you stop shrinking to keep their comfort intact. When you stop explaining your worth. When you stop entertaining what your spirit already outgrew. The betrayal will sting, but the freedom it brings will be fierce. Do not mourn what heaven is removing. Do not grieve what God is exposing. Do not chase what's walking away when it was never meant to stay. Archangel Michael's sword is not striking in anger. It's drawing a holy boundary. This is where it ends. A cycle. A manipulation. The silent competition disguised as companionship. Michael's presence is your confirmation. The betrayal is not your ending. It's the divine prelude to a better beginning. Type "I am stepping forward" to get the blessing 7291. You've come this far carrying burdens that weren't yours to hold. Emotional debts. Unspoken obligations. Silent contracts with people who praised your light but secretly hoped you'd never outgrow the dark. July 10th is the spiritual intervention. It is heaven severing, not to isolate you, but to insulate you. Archangel Michael stands beside you now, not only as a warrior but as a witness. He has watched your endurance. He has heard your inner cries. And now, he's here to cut the invisible ropes keeping you tethered to betrayal. You were not created to be a container for other people's projections. Yet someone you trusted has filled your soul with poison disguised as praise. They clapped for your healing only because they thought you'd stay beneath them. But when your light got too bright, when your growth became undeniable, they started to withdraw. This betrayal wasn't spontaneous. It was spiritual, calculated, patterned. And now, it must be severed, cleanly, clearly, completely. Michael's sword is drawn not just to expose the betrayer, but to awaken the part of you that thought you needed them. You don't. You never did. You gave them access out of love, but they stayed out of convenience. Your spirit tried to negotiate with their wounds. Your heart tried to justify their silence. But July 10th has come to remind you, discernment is divine, and love without wisdom leads to self-sabotage. Type "I am no longer available" to get the blessing 4941. The severing won't be soft. It will sting. But it will also simplify. No more overthinking. No more trying to decode their energy. No more wondering why your wins feel like losses when shared with them. Archangel Michael says the tension you felt is the spiritual alarm of misalignment. Stop sleeping through the warning. Stop asking for clarity after heaven has already spoken. The betrayal is not something you need to heal through. It's something you need to walk away from. You've mastered survival. Now it's time for sanctification. You are not called to keep fixing people who keep fracturing you. You are not required to remain close to someone just because you have history. God is not sentimental about what stunts your purpose. And this person, this betrayer, has become a blockade. Not just emotionally, but spiritually. They are the leak in your atmosphere. They are the shadow in your joy. And on July 10th, the break must be final. Michael's voice echoes in the spirit. Do not touch what I have removed. It will be tempting to reach back, to clarify, to forgive prematurely. But this isn't about bitterness, it's about boundaries. The sacred severing is a holy act of obedience. When you honor what heaven is ending, you make room for what God is sending. You're not losing a person, you're shedding a parasite. And the moment you release them, your atmosphere will shift. Type I am reclaiming peace to get blessing 3819. This is your exodus. Out of guilt, out of manipulation, out of cycles where you overgive just to be tolerated. The one who betrayed you may try to explain. They may act confused. But you will not need closure when you walk in conviction. July 10th is the day you stop expecting truth from someone who lives in disguise. This isn't about who they are. It's about who you're becoming. And your elevation demands separation. You must not ignore this divine push. The same way you outgrew old habits, you're now outgrowing old alliances. Some people only love the unhealed version of you, the one who needed saving. But now, you've become the hero of your own story, and that makes them uncomfortable. Let it. You are not responsible for their discomfort. You are responsible for your alignment. Heaven is offering freedom, but you must choose it. So when the betrayal reveals itself, through silence, through sabotage, or through a sudden shift, do not flinch. Do not fold. Remember the voice of Archangel Michael saying, I warn you because I love you. This isn't punishment. It's protection. This isn't loss. It's liberation. And what's waiting on the other side of this severing is peace beyond explanation, love without deception, and joy that doesn't require surveillance. Type I am aligned with truth to get the blessing 8002. The closer you get to truth, the more expensive it becomes. Clarity always costs. It costs comfort. It costs familiarity. And often, it costs people you never thought you'd lose. July 10th is not just a day of warning. It's the unveiling of the price you've already paid for staying blind too long. Archangel Michael isn't just handing you revelation. He's handing you release. But release doesn't come without sacrifice. And heaven knows what you're being asked to let go of. You were loyal to a lie because it wore the scent of love. You stayed connected because you confused history with harmony. But clarity has entered the room, and it's not asking questions, it's making declarations. The betrayal that's been lingering in shadows will no longer be able to hide. July 10th is when false loyalty crumbles and divine truth rises. Michael says, what was once hidden is now judged. What was once tolerated is now closed. Heaven is not asking you to carry the weight of this betrayal. It's asking you to stop carrying the person behind it. You've shielded them from consequences with your grace. You've absorbed blows they threw while smiling. But that time is over. Your compassion was never supposed to become a cage. Your mercy was never meant to mute your discernment. And on this sacred day, the Spirit is making sure you see it all, unfiltered, undeniable, and unforgettable. Type I am ready for truth to get blessing 6244. The cost of clarity is grief. Grief for the version of them you thought was real. Grief for the bond you hoped would grow. Grief for the investment of your time, your tears, your loyalty. But don't let grief turn into guilt. You were not foolish, you were faithful. You were not blind, you were trusting. But now, you are becoming wise. And wisdom doesn't apologize for cutting ties that heaven never approved in the first place. Michael says, you're not being broken, you're being built. The betrayal may break your heart, but it won't break your soul. You've walked through worse and came out radiant. You've loved deeper and survived disappointment. This will not undo you. It will redefine you. And in the definition, you will finally remember who you are. Chosen, protected, called. Let their absence echo. Let their silence speak. Let the clarity cost what it must, but never your peace. This is your sacred shift. The betrayal that once threatened to destroy you is now your transportation into power. You no longer need their validation. You no longer need their explanations. They don't need to understand why you walked away. They don't even need to agree. This isn't about closure. It's about alignment. You've seen too much. You've grown too much. You've awakened too much to stay asleep in their presence again. Type I am stepping out to get blessing 7135. July 10th is your line in the sand. A divine timestamp etched in heaven's records. It marks the moment you stopped apologizing for expecting loyalty. It marks the day you stopped confusing proximity with purity. Just because they stood beside you doesn't mean they stood for you. Archangel Michael is clearing your path not out of cruelty, but out of covenant. This betrayal is not a punishment, it's a promotion. And yes, you will feel the weight of it. Don't run from that. Don't numb it. Let it move through you like fire. Because that fire is not here to burn you down. It's here to burn off everything that was false. The roles you played to be loved. The masks you wore to be accepted. The silence you held so others could be comfortable. This fire is your anointing. Let it consume what was never yours to carry. The next version of you cannot emerge in the same soil where betrayal once bloomed. That's why July 10th matters. It is the uprooting. It is the replanting. It is the divine moment where you choose clarity over closeness, truth over tolerance, destiny over deception. And from this moment forward, you will walk with vision, with discernment, with protection, with purpose. Because now, you see. Type I am walking in vision to get the blessing 5296. Discernment is not a feeling, it's a divine lens. When heaven sharpens your discernment, your vision clears, but your circle tightens. July 10th did not just bring exposure, it brought elevation. And with every elevation comes spiritual pruning. Archangel Michael says the consequence of seeing clearly is that you can no longer pretend you don't. You can't unsee betrayal once truth has been revealed. You can't unknow what your spirit already confirmed in silence. Now, it's time to move with wisdom. You asked for God to show you who was real. You asked to be aligned with purpose. The prayer was heard. But the answer isn't always more love. It's more loss. Not because you're being punished, but because you're being purified. The one who betrayed you couldn't walk with you into this next season. Their heart posture disqualified them. And had Michael not revealed them, you would have kept feeding them access while they plotted your collapse. Don't curse the clarity. Thank it. Because without this betrayal, you might still be building trust on false soil. Without this moment of truth, you might still be confusing shared history with spiritual destiny. But Archangel Michael made sure that the betrayal didn't just hurt. You saw it for what it truly was. Not a lapse. Not a misunderstanding. But a bitterness veering upon you. And now, the sword of separation has done its holy work. Type I am moving wisely to get the blessing 8452. July 10th marks a spiritual emancipation. The veil is gone. The performance is over. They can no longer fool your spirit because heaven has authenticated your vision. There is no going back to naivety. That version of you, the one who made excuses for disloyalty, is gone. That version died when Michael revealed the truth. And the new you emerging from the ashes of betrayal has learned to listen not just with ears, but with discernment. Discernment will cost you relationships, but it will protect your peace. It will distance you from people, but draw you nearer to purpose. And that's what this betrayal unlocked. Not just pain, but precision. You can now recognize manipulation dressed as support. You can now detect jealousy cloaked in false compliments. Michael didn't just show you someone's mask. He trained your soul to recognize all future disguises. That is the divine reward of discernment. This wisdom is spiritual wealth. You're now equipped to walk into rooms without wondering who is for you. You'll feel it in the shift of energy. You'll know it in the delay of their applause. You will sense it in the way they celebrate everyone but you. Discernment is not paranoid, it's prophetic. And once you receive it, peace becomes non-negotiable. July 10th gave you a new lens, and through it, the betrayer became your greatest revelation. Type I am protected by wisdom to get blessing 6677. You are no longer the one who entertains red flags out of hope. You are no longer the one who explains away sabotage with kindness. You are no longer afraid to walk alone if it means walking in peace. Archangel Michael didn't just cut off a person, he cut off the part of you that tolerated less than you deserve. That inner fracture, the one that needed to be needed, is healing. And with that healing comes holy boldness. The enemy's plan was for the betrayal to silence you, to make you retreat, to make you question everyone. But heaven's plan was different. Heaven used the betrayal to refine you, to solidify your voice, to raise your discernment. And now that you see clearly, you speak differently. You choose differently. You guard differently. This is what it means to be spiritually mature. You no longer chase what once drained you. The consequence of discernment is that you will be misunderstood by those who benefit from your blindness. They'll say you change. Let them. They'll say you're distant. Let them. They'll say you're cold. Let them. Let them mislabel your healing. Let them misread your boundaries. You don't owe anyone access to your peace. July 10th was the divine judgment, not just of the betrayer but of every spiritual tie that enabled them. If this word has stirred your spirit and ignited boldness within you, consider showing your support with a super thanks of $20. Your generosity empowers us to continue releasing prophetic guidance, clarity, and strength to those journeying from betrayal to blessing. You can also support our mission through PayPal donation by clicking the support here link in the video description. Every contribution makes a meaningful impact and helps us keep creating and sharing with you. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you never miss a moment of divine instruction, heavenly insight, and spirit-led guidance designed for your breakthrough. Type I am chosen for clarity to get the blessing 9024. You were never meant to carry betrayal as baggage. You were meant to walk through it as a doorway. July 10th wasn't just about seeing who betrayed you. It was about seeing what had to end for you to truly begin. Archangel Michael is still standing at the threshold, holding open the exit door from the past version of you. the overloyal you, the accommodating you, the silently suffering you. The door is open, but you must walk through it willingly. The sword has already cut the ties. Now it's your move. Let's be honest. Part of you was still hoping they'd apologize, admit fault, or show remorse. But heaven is not building your future around their repentance. Heaven is building it around your release. The exit isn't delayed by what they refuse to say. It's delayed only by what you refuse to let go of. And Michael is clear. Holding on to someone after heaven has removed them is not loyalty. It's spiritual rebellion. You cannot build a temple on cursed foundation. The exit may feel cold, lonely, but do not mistake emptiness for punishment. The empty space left by their betrayal is actually the sacred vacuum where divine replacements will arrive. People who don't compete with you, who cover you. People who don't mirror your ideas, who magnify your purpose. You had to leave the table where loyalty was one-sided so heaven could seat you at the one where honor is mutual. The betrayal with the eviction. The exit is the relocation. Type I am walking away clean to get the blessing 7751. This door is not emotional. It's prophetic. It closes with a finality that leaves no crack for manipulation to crawl back through. And you must guard it with the same discernment that was born from the betrayal. Michael says, let them wonder. Let them miss you. Let them taste the silence they once weaponized against you. That is not pride, it is preservation. You are not the same. You cannot go back. You will not fit where your spirit has outgrown the atmosphere. Even if they reach back out, even if they pretend nothing happened, even if they mimic accountability, remember this. True betrayal is not only what they did, it's what they believed you'd tolerate. It's the comfort they felt plotting behind your back while sitting at your table. It cannot be undone by words. July 10th revealed their character, and heaven is not asking you to question that verdict. It is sealed. The door is closed. Forward is the only direction. You not sabotage your future by romanticizing the past. The enemy will whisper nostalgia in the middle of your clarity. He'll remind you of their laughter, the good days, the fun moments. But those were real feelings inside a false connection. Don't let good memories become spiritual traps. Archangel Michael warns, every time you reopen what God closed, you invite chaos to sleep beside you. And this time, the cost will be your calling. Type I am not turning back to get the blessing 6590. There is no reward in revisiting what hurt you. There is no peace in maintaining a connection heaven dissolved. The betrayer played their role, but that role has ended. Now, your soul must exit the performance. Drop the script. Exit the scene. Walk off the stage of pretending everything's okay. You don't owe final act. You owe yourself freedom. July 10th was your curtain call. The applause of heaven has already begun. Michael didn't fight this battle for you to go back into it. He didn't draw his sword for you to keep entertaining the enemy in disguise. You are not crazy. You are not overreacting. You are awakened, anointed, appointed. And your forward motion is not abandonment, it's alignment. You are stepping into a realm where your presence will be honored, not merely tolerated, and where your heart will be protected, not secretly envied. So let the exit be clean. Let the silence be sacred. Let the distance speak louder than explanations ever could. The betrayer knows what they did. Heaven knows what they did. You no longer need to carry it. What you carry now is vision, discernment, power, and every step away from them is a step deeper into your divine destiny. The exit door may close behind you, but what opens in front of you will be drenched in glory. Type I'm exiting with power to get the blessing 9983. After the storm of betrayal passes, silence will come. Not the kind of silence that feels empty, but the kind that feels sacred. That space after the exposure, after the severing, after the exit, is where heaven does its most intimate work. July 10th was the breaking point. What comes next is the rebuilding. Archangel Michael reminds you, after every holy war, there must be a holy pause. It's in the quiet that your soul gathers its strength again. Don't rush this stillness. It is not delay, it is divine recovery. The aftermath may feel disorienting at first. The absence of that person, someone who used to consume your emotional bandwidth, will leave a strange emptiness. But do not confuse vacancy with lack. What has been removed made space for your alignment. Now, it's time to rest in the pause. It's time to listen deeper. Reflect clearer. The silence is not punishment. It is spiritual insulation. Heaven is tucking you into its presence so the residue of betrayal doesn't follow you forward. You may still replay the scenes. You may catch yourself wondering if you misread the signs. That's normal. But don't dwell. The decision has been made. The sword has already fallen. The warning was already fulfilled. Clarity was already given. Now comes surrender, not to confusion, but to confirmation. Michael says, let the stillness be your sanctuary. Let it cleanse you of suspicion and soothe you with peace. You are no longer in survival. You are in sanctification. Type I'm safe in stillness to get blessing 3340. There will be days when you feel the ache. Betrayal leaves echoes. Even when the wound stops bleeding, the memory throbs. But that pain will pass, and in its place, strength will rise. You'll begin to notice things you never had space to see before. The blessings that were delayed by the emotional noise. The joy that couldn't land because you were too entangled. This silence is where your spirit resets, and your destiny realigns. Michael is not speaking loudly now because he doesn't need to. His sword already spoke for him. Now the heavens whisper. Listen to the whisper. It says, you did the right thing. You honored the truth. You obeyed the instruction. That still small voice will replace the chaos that once ran rampant in your mind. And slowly, gently, your inner world will begin to bloom again, free from the contamination of betrayal. Don't rush to fill the space. Don't immediately replace what heaven removed. Some spaces are meant to stay open for a season so the new can be recognized when it arrives. Discernment is still your compass, even in rest. You are not waiting in vain. You are not healing alone. The same angels who fought beside you on July 10th are now surrounding you with protection, warmth, and clarity. You are covered even in quiet. Type I am covered in peace to get blessing 4826. Give yourself permission to mourn what you thought would last. Give yourself space to release the stories you told yourself to justify their behavior. Let the tears fall. Let the questions rise. But don't let either chain you. This is not a pit. It's a passage. You are not drowning. You are detoxing. The stillness is not empty, it's sacred. The one who betrayed you created a wound, but heaven is creating a well. From that well, you will draw wisdom, peace, and unwavering strength. The Spirit is preparing your soil for new seeds, but that requires stillness. Until the ground rests, nothing new can root. You're being rooted deeper now, not in people, not in approval, but in divine truth. That grounding will make you immovable the next time deception tries to disguise itself as love. That is the gift of this stillness. It recalibrates your spirit to truth so precisely that anything misaligned will feel foreign the moment it enters your atmosphere. Sit in the quiet. Breathe in the pause. Let your heart exhale. Archangel Michael is not gone. He's just stepped back so you can feel what peace without pretense feels like. You'll begin to recognize it, crave it, choose it. And from now on, peace will no longer be a luxury. It will be your standard. This stillness is proof you exited the battlefield and stepped into the blessing. I am resting in clarity to get the blessing 6104. The stillness after betrayal is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your standard. You've walked through fire, faced divine exposure, felt the severing sword of Archangel Michael, and stood in sacred silence. Now, something new is rising in your spirit. Resolve. This resolve isn't born from anger. It's forged from clarity. July 10th didn't just reveal who betrayed you. It revealed what you must no longer tolerate. That's where the power begins, not in vengeance but in vision. Your standards are not walls, they are filters. They allow love in while keeping sabotage out. And now, after all you've seen, endured, and overcome, you no longer offer your light to anyone who stands in your shadow. The betrayal taught you this. Access to your heart is sacred. And if someone cannot honor the truth of who you are, they don't belong near your truth. Michael says, your heart is not a battlefield. Stop giving it to warriors who came only to conquer, not cover. You are no longer obligated to shrink so others feel safe. You are no longer bound to explain your intuition. What you feel is divine data. What you know in your spirit is evidence. You don't need receipts when heaven has already ruled. This betrayal rewired your instincts, sharpened your senses, and reminded you that being nice without boundaries is not spiritual maturity. It's spiritual neglect. You're done betraying yourself to keep someone else comfortable. I'm raising my standard to get blessing 5888. Your spirit is now in alignment. You don't chase. You don't beg. You don't defend what you know is true. And when someone shows you contradiction between their words and energy, you trust the energy. This level of clarity doesn't make you cold. It makes you protected. You no longer fear loss, because anything that leaves after exposure was never a blessing. It was a barrier. And July 10th made sure you would never mistake poison for perfume again. Michael is now assigning new protection around your discernment. Your peace is guarded. Your heart is sealed from manipulation. And anyone who attempts to enter your space without integrity will feel that spiritual firewall. That's not ego. That's divine structure. You were always meant to be surrounded by realness, not role play. Now your frequency has shifted. You no longer attract what you used to tolerate. You are now a magnet for truth, not theatrics. It is time to define your new boundaries, not in bitterness, but in blueprint. What do you allow now? What do you give your energy to? Who earns the right to hear your softness, your dreams, your vision? July 10th was a divine audit. The ones who betrayed you failed that audit. Now you must enforce the results. Not with aggression, but with alignment. Every no you give from here on is a yes to your future. I'm choosing alignment to get blessing 7233. It's okay to feel different now. To be less available. To speak less and observe more. To value solitude over shallow company. That's the byproduct of betrayal. You see the world through cleaner glass. You feel your own energy clear. You finally hear yourself without noise. This is not you closing off. It's you elevating. Archangel Michael says, you're not meant to fit where false peace is the currency. Let the shift be uncomfortable. It's part of your new standard. And yes, there will be those who don't understand your change. They'll say you've grown distant, that you're not who you used to be. And they'll be right. You're not. You are no longer the version of yourself that would overlook inconsistency, justify mistreatment, or stay in spiritual fog for the sake of false harmony. That version was buried on July 10th. What rose from the ashes was not a survivor, but a sovereign. This sovereignty is not ego, it's embodiment. You are embodying divine truth. You are no longer borrowing your voice, you're owning it. No longer seeking confirmation, you're walking in conviction. The betrayal was painful, but it forced the birth of your next self. And this self is unshakable. Not because they are hardened, but because they are whole. Michael didn't just protect you, he purified you through fire. If this word has resonated with your spirit and awakened fresh boldness in your heart, we invite you to sow a super thanks of $20. Your support helps us continue sharing prophetic insight, clarity, and strength with others navigating the path from betrayal to blessing. You can also partner with us through a donation via PayPal. Just click the support here link in the video description. Every gift, big or small, fuels our ability to keep delivering encouragement and truth to those who need it most. And be sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a moment of divine direction, spirit-led revelation, and timely encouragement crafted for your breakthrough. Type I am fully aligned to get the blessing 8547. You didn't just survive the betrayal, you transcended it. What was meant to diminish you has now distinguished you. July 10th wasn't the day your story ended. It was the divine rupture that gave birth to your rising. The person you were before this betrayal was powerful, but the one emerging now is prophetic. And Archangel Michael isn't just applauding your endurance, he's now walking before you, clearing the path for elevation that your enemies never saw coming. What they did was meant to be your downfall. The silence, the sabotage, a subtle shame. But what they didn't account for was your anointing, your resilience, your spiritual backing. Heaven didn't just let it happen. Heaven orchestrated the exposure so your destiny could no longer be delayed. You've cried. You've released. You've severed. And now, Michael says, rise. You've been refined. There is nothing left to mourn. The ashes have cooled. It's time to build. This next version of you no longer waits for permission to shine. You are no longer timid in rooms where your light once felt too loud. You no longer shrink around people who feel threatened by your peace. The betrayal taught you that you are not too much, you were just too real for those living in disguise. Your light didn't blind them. It revealed their shadows. And now, you rise, not in revenge but in revelation. Type I am rising with purpose to get the blessing 4874. The rise doesn't begin with a celebration. It begins with a decision. A quiet, unwavering decision to stop watering what never grew you. To stop apologizing for boundaries. To stop playing small so others can feel large. July 10th was your divine interruption. And now you are stepping into your divine instruction. Walk boldly. Speak truthfully. Love wisely. Give freely, but only to those who carry the capacity to honor what you give. You're not rising with bitterness in your bones. You're rising with brilliance in your soul. The pain has purified your intentions. The betrayal has sharpened your discernment. The loss has expanded your gratitude. And now, everything you create from this point forward will be saturated with a level of power that can only be birthed through brokenness. What they tried to bury has now become a blueprint. What they hoped would silence you has turned into your roar. Archangel Michael has not left your side. His sword may be sheathed now, but his presence is louder than ever. You'll see him in the divine timing that begins to unfold, in the conversations that align, in the peace that no longer feels foreign. Michael says, I defended you in silence so that your next season would speak louder than any argument could. And now, your rise will be undeniable. Type I am built for this to get blessing 5931. There will be moments when doubt tries to re-enter, when memories of the betrayal knock on your heart. But this time, you'll answer with awareness, with wisdom, with grace. Not everything deserves a reaction. Not everyone deserves a response. The old you would have tried to prove your innocence. The new you let peace prove your power. You are no longer in the arena of emotional battles. You are seated in heavenly places. Let this rise be holy. Let it be sacred. Let it be quiet, if needed. Not every victory needs a crowd. Not every breakthrough needs a broadcast. The deepest shifts happen in silence. Let your growth shock those who underestimated your recovery. Let your glow expose every lie they told in your absence. But most of all, let your joy be your justice. You didn't just heal. You evolved. And your elevation will speak for itself. To step. To be. Build. Breathe. Create. Love. Lead. The weight has lifted. The veil is gone. The storm has passed. And now, what remains is pure. The betrayal did not destroy you. It delivered you into the arms of clarity. And from this space, you will rise not with wounds but with wings. Not with fear, but with fire. This is your ascent. Type I am ascending in truth to get the blessing 7446. Every act of obedience carries a hidden reward. When you let go of what heaven exposes, you make room for what heaven ordained. July 10th wasn't just about removal, it was about replacement. You didn't just walk away from betrayal, you walked toward divine compensation. Archangel Michael wants you to understand, nothing you released will return void. The silence you kept, the restraint you showed, the clarity you followed, heaven saw it all, and now the reward is being sent. There is a reward for choosing peace over revenge, for walking away instead of clinging to dysfunction, for surrendering the fake comfort of a familiar betrayal in exchange for the unknown purity of purpose. Your reward isn't always loud or public. It's not always applause or recognition. Sometimes, it's the steady restoration of your joy. Sometimes, it's finally feeling light again. Sometimes, it's the gift of waking up without a knot in your spirit. Michael says, your obedience unlocked what your striving never could. You tried to fix them, love them harder, pray them into wholeness. But that assignment was never yours to carry forever. Letting them go wasn't failure, it was faith. And heaven never forgets faith. So now, in the shadows of what left you, light is pouring in. Doors are opening. Answers are coming. Alignment is replacing anxiety. You were never abandoned. You were being advanced. Type I am ready to receive to get blessing 6137. Here's a new frequency forming in your life. One that only aligns with authenticity, reciprocity, and truth. You won't have to question intentions anymore. You won't have to beg for love that should have been freely given. The betrayal may have stung, but it cleared the space for your soul family to find you. Those who carry similar light. those who see you without envy, who love you without condition, who celebrate without hesitation. A betrayal was a setup for divine fulfillment. Had you stayed entangled, you wouldn't have recognized what's coming. You wouldn't have had the room, the clarity, or the energy. Archangel Michael allowed the sword to fall so your hands would be free to receive. Now, you're walking into connections that don't confuse you, rooms that don't shrink you, and assignments that don't drain you. This is your inheritance for enduring well. Heaven is a just system, and you sowed too much in love, patience, and long-suffering to not reap abundance. Don't doubt what's on the way just because of what fell away. That relationship, that friendship, that circle, it had to crumble because it couldn't carry the weight of your next season. Now that you've released it, heaven is responding not just with restoration, but with redemption. What you thought you lost was only clearing the way for what was always meant to arrive. Type I am receiving restoration to get blessing 7,860. Don't look back, not even in curiosity. What left your life did so under divine orders. Your reward requires forward vision. Michael is clearing the fog now. You'll find yourself feeling lighter, hearing God clearer, seeing signs faster. It's not your imagination. It's spiritual acceleration. The weight of disloyalty has lifted, and now you can finally soar. You don't owe explanations to anyone who mistook your discernment for distance. This is the era of new ease. You've labored in heaviness long enough. You mourned and mended. Now it's time to move. You won't have to force anything. Divine timing will take over. The same way July 10th exposed betrayal, the days ahead will unveil blessings. Quiet, precise, undeniable. What's arriving will not compete for your trust. It will confirm it. That's how you'll know it's from heaven. Archangel Michael says, "Watch what I bring to replace what was removed." Because the betrayal broke a curse, a cycle, a delay. And now, what flows toward you will not require you to prove, beg, or earn. It will land because you are aligned, because you said yes to release, because you trusted when it hurt, because you obeyed without proof. And now proof is coming. Type I am living in the proof to get the blessing 8,499. This is the moment where the storm settles and the skies part. July 10th will no longer be remembered as the day you were betrayed. It will be remembered as the day you were reborn. The day your spirit stopped tolerating what your soul never agreed to. The day heaven stepped in and Archangel Michael made sure you were no longer chained to cycles that silenced your light. The betrayal wasn't your ending. It was heaven's exodus strategy. And you, beloved, walked through the fire and came out golden. You did not break, you were broken open. You did not lose, you were loosened from what was never built for you. You did not collapse, you surrendered. And in that surrender, heaven wrote your name in spiritual ink that can never be erased. You are no longer available to manipulation, to smallness, to spiritual theft disguised as companionship. You now walk in the knowing that your peace is protection. Your boundaries are holy. And your discernment is not a burden, it's a gift. Every tear you cried was collected. Every silence you held was sacred. Every time you resisted the urge to retaliate, heaven celebrated. Because this battle was never just about you, it was about the generations after you. You broke something that tried to stay hidden. You ended a pattern with your obedience. And now, the ripple of your yes will stretch farther than you can imagine. Your healing is not quiet. It's a declaration across timelines. You chose yourself. You chose truth. And you chose freedom. Archangel Michael now lowers his sword. not because the fight is over, but because the war has already been won. He stands beside you, proud, not because you were perfect, but because you were willing. They fought for you. He warned you. They exposed what was hidden, and you listened. You moved. You obeyed. That is what heaven honors. Not perfection, but participation in divine instruction. And now, it's time to live from the clarity you've earned. Go forward without apology. Walk boldly into rooms you once tiptoed in. Speak truths you once silenced. Smile without fear of envy. Love without begging. And rest, knowing that the one who betrayed you did not take anything. They only cleared the space for something sacred to arrive. This is not just the end of a chapter, it's the beginning of your reign. If this word has ignited something in your spirit and stirred fresh courage within you, we encourage you to respond with a super thanks of $20. Your support enables us to continue releasing prophetic words that bring clarity, healing, and hope to those moving from betrayal into breakthrough. You can also donate through PayPal by clicking the support here link in the video description. Every seed sown strengthens our ability to speak life and truth into the lives of others. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment of spirit-led wisdom, prophetic direction, and divine encouragement tailored to your season of transformation. Type I am walking in victory to get the blessing 9000.